Have you ever thought about the factors affecting the First Amendment and if it permits particular speech restrictions? There is no question that these factors are significant. Having studied the assigned materials, I've gained a better understanding of free speech in the First Amendment and the factors that are affecting it. There are a few fundamental aspects of free speech that everyone should know, including the First Amendment protects some forms of expression but not others, the right to express ideas and opinions without any government interference, and as well as protection. So let me break it down. So it says to explain the factors affecting whether the First Amendment permits particular speech restrictions, and to do it in 3 points. So here are my 3 points. On page 117 in the book, it states that the factors that the court considers and its analytical approach vary from case to case. The prominent constitutional scholar Erwin Chemerinsky has flagged this challenging aspect of this body of law. Part of what makes the First Amendment analysis difficult is that there is no prescribed order for analysis. It is not as defined as a defined series of questions in a required sequential order. Also, that said, in many cases, the court has repeatedly cited certain factual considerations that affect its First Amendment free speech analysis. So the free speech analysis is by far the most important part of this whole thing. And I'm going to break that down for you as well. So what this all means from my perspective is that the courts mostly look at the 3 factors when deciding whether a speech restriction is allowed by the First Amendment. It is meant to be something like a significant government interest and to also leave open different means of communication. So in this case, anyone should be able to express themselves and their opinions and their ideas without anyone telling them what to do. They should be able to do it freely. It is meant to be something like significant government interest and to also leave open different means of communication. This also has to do with how strong the interests of the government are and whether speech regulations are fairly tailored to those specific interests. This is also important because it is not so often that we think about these factors and how they affect particular speech restrictions. I believe one of the most crucial parts of the quote above is how it mentions the free speech analysis, obviously. In this case, the free speech analysis is important because it is the process of determining whether a law is dependable on the First Amendment's protection of free speech. It is also crucial because it protects the fundamental right to express one's opinions and ideas without government censorship, for example. And some key points about the importance of free speech analysis include, here's the breakdown here. The marketplace of ideas, for example, social change and activism, and individual development. These aspects all play their own important role in this analysis in different ways. So these are very, very, very important. And we should be able to think about these more often and how they pertain to free speech. So here, let me wrap it up. Short and sweet. Have you ever thought about the factors affecting the First Amendment and if it permits particular speech restrictions? Well, obviously, we should think about it more often and why it's important. There is no question that these factors are significant. They should always be significant, and we should always keep them in mind. Having studied the assigned materials, I've gained a better understanding of free speech, the First Amendment, and the factors that are affecting it. There are a few fundamental aspects of free speech, like I mentioned, that people should know, including the First Amendment protects some forms of expression but not others, the right to express ideas and opinions without government interference, as well as the protection. And lastly, no matter what, we should always keep in mind all of the fundamental factors that affect the First Amendment, no matter what. So, yeah.